adjusted. Just a friendly reminder, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand or send us a message within the Zoom platform. And to kick off questions, we're going to go to David Smith. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Ricky, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, looking over the last year, you and Brian Patty produced the fastest car on drafting tracks. I'm curious what that means, if anything, to you. Even Joey Logano's comments last year after the duel, he said that your car was the only one capable of making a move, making a pass without the assistance of the pack. You've won at this track before at Daytona and at Talladega. So looking at what you have with JTG, what is left, what is needed that's within your control to finally win this thing?
Yeah, I think, for us, it's, paying attention to all the details, on the driver's side, going back and looking at how the Daytona 500 played out for us, getting a penalty for passing below the yellow line, put us in a bad spot. And then we got wrecked coming to pit road, being further back in the pack. And so, little mistakes like that is what takes you out of contention for the biggest race of the year. And I feel really good about our Kroger Camaro going down to Daytona again. The boys have been working really hard and massaging on it in the shop, and I'm excited for pole day, or pole night, I guess now. But, I think for us, it's just doing all those little things right and making sure that we do our job, because, being at JTG Doherty Racing, you got me and Priest, and really, that's the only people we can count on. Can't count on anybody else. So it's nice to have a car capable of doing maybe things that other people feel like they can't do with their car. And that's what you get when you get all the, pay attention to all those details that Brian and our team does. And so I'm excited to get back down there and limit those mistakes. You don't feel like it's a big mistake, but just one little thing can take you out of contention.
And specifically with speed, obviously at the drafting tracks, it's not everything. So is there anything in particular that you specifically want your car to do?
Obviously being fast is key, but you also specifically at Daytona, I feel like you got to have a car that turns off of turn 4 better than others. I feel like that's a position of the racetrack. When I look back at, my first few years in Cup, when I actually feel like I was just kind of holding on and just trying to put myself in position to get a top 15, top 10 run, instead of, battling for the win, is, having a car that handles good off of turn 4, because there's a lot of people I feel like that get tight off of turn 4 and have to lift the throttle. And it's tough to beat people back to the start finish line when you don't have a car capable of doing that. And then, having a car that, again, drives good so that you can be a little bit more aggressive on strategy, take, fuel only on that last stop to keep your track position, things like that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And we're going to take our next question from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
I was afraid of that. Sorry, I wasn't ready. But anyway, Ricky, earlier, gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. It's all right.
Lee, you want us to come back to you?
I'm sorry, what?
You want us to come back to you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I was taking care of something else. Sorry about that. Earlier, one of the drivers said that Busher said there was no place to hide anymore at Daytona. It used to be that, you could hang in the back or, go somewhere on the tractor in the 500, and that it would, kind of simplify or save you for the end of the race. But he doesn't feel with the intensity level that's at the track right now, that's in the races, that there's no place to hide. Is that kind of the feeling you have as well?
Yeah, I think, you can get far enough off the back of the pack, I guess, to, give yourself some ability to slow down and miss a wreck early on in the race. I think points are valuable enough that everybody's trying to get stage points as well, but obviously the main goal in sight being the Daytona 500 and being in victory lane. And so, to me, definitely it used to be, if you're in the top 10, you felt safe. And, nowadays that's kind of where the wrecks start happening, is, that 5th to 10th range, versus I felt like back in the day, it was a 15th to 20th place is kind of where the chaos started. But all of us are trying so hard to keep our track position throughout the race that, those mistakes and the aggressive driving, is in the top 10 and mainly in the top 5, where you're, blocking lanes and trying to keep that track position. So definitely nothing up front feels comfortable or safe, but I do think it's necessary to be up front so that you're learning throughout the race. And then, you keep that track position all day. It's so hard now, I feel like, to come from the back to the front on our super speedway races, just the way the package is and the aggressiveness of every single driver out there.
And your thoughts on Bristol going to dirt, what are your expectations?
I don't know what my expectations are. I went there and watched the sprint car races back in 2000, 2001, whichever, I can't remember which year I went, but it was just cool to see Bristol have dirt on it. It was a sight to see. I'm excited to watch the other races there. My sprint car team will be there with Sheldon, Talladega weekend, I believe that is. And I think for us in the stock cars, it'll just be about, for NASCAR, managing the track, making sure that, we have a track that's going to produce good racing. And, with dirt, it's nice that you can go out and change it a lot quicker than you can change an asphalt track. But it should be fun.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt. Okay, we'll take our next question from Chris Estrada. Go ahead, Chris.
Good afternoon, Ricky. My first question is just going to be about the comfort level. You're entering your second year with JTG Doherty after a year where, for everybody, everything got turned upside down. So having gone through all of that, how has that strengthened your personal bond with the team, and how important do you think that will be as you try lifting this team to better results in 2021?
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. The good news is I feel like we kept everybody the same on the 47 team, and we all believe in each other. I feel like this is a really good group of guys that are working on my race cars. And so we all believe that, we underperformed as far as the finishes go and like the year-end points results. But there was a lot of highs, I feel like, with the speed of our cars when we showed up to the racetrack. I think on my side, I got to clean up my pit road mistakes, because I feel like I can count on, one hand, a full hand that, I felt like I gave up some really good opportunities to run, well inside the top 10 at some of these racetracks, from having a pit road penalty. And so, for us, I like that we got the same group. We have a little bit bigger notebook than what we had last year with the Camaro and these chassis. And so Brian knows, kind of what to look for and what we need to change going into some of the tracks that we struggled with. But, I think all in all, we got a lot of confidence that we can really improve, not just by a spot or two. We feel like we can, improve by, 10 spots in that final result. So, we've got some great opportunities ahead of us. As David mentioned, our speedway cars are really good, and we take a lot of pride in those. And, we're doing that same prep and that same, everybody's getting ready the same way for every racetrack that we go to. I feel like we're pretty far ahead as far as looking at races down the road. And I think that was one thing that COVID kind of taught us. And with this schedule that we have now is, the guys are getting, a little bit further ahead and making sure that we, look at everything as close as we can at the race shop, knowing that we don't have practice and, making sure everything's right. Because we let a couple things slip through the crack last year that, they're not going to let happen again.
Thank you, Ricky.
Okay, our next question will come from Steven with 24/7 Sports. Go ahead, Steven.
Ricky, going into Daytona 500 qualifying, you're the defending pole sitter, but there hasn't been single car qualifying on the super speedway since the Daytona 500 last year. Given that, plus the fact that It's going to be on Wednesday night this year. It's going to be about 4 days before the 500 rather than 7. Do you expect the results of qualifying this year to be wildly different, or do you think that the same guys who were fast in time trials last year are going to be the same guys who
Well, I think you can look at the consistency of, the Hendrick team, specifically the 88, the 9. They're really consistently in those top 5 or 6 spots every year. I think the 88's been on the front row a lot in the past. So I feel like that's pretty consistent and probably will be consistent again. I think last year, not a lot of people expected us to jump up the board as much as we did, but I feel like we could be a player again when it comes down to qualifying. I think for me, it's going to be interesting to, kind of see what qualifying is going to be like at night. Obviously temperature is going to be a little cooler. I think the wind could die down some. So you might not have that, big effect throughout qualifying, wind shifting, things like that. Looking back at our runs on SMT, I felt like, there was definitely different winds for each car that went out, especially when I looked at the cars later on in qualifying. But, I don't think feel like there'll be any big shakeup. It'll be kind of crazy just having one little quick practice and going right into it. And I'm excited for pole night.
Good deal. Thanks, Ricky.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Eric Smith. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, Ricky, obviously both of your wins came in 2017 with the restrictor plate package. And I know we've got the tapered spacers now. Which of those packages do you like better as a driver? And how much did you learn last year that you could carry over to this year without many changes to the car?
I don't think the tapered spacer, restrictor plate, either way, it's all it's doing is restricting horsepower, maybe a little bit different way. But, we've gone big spoilers, small spoilers. It definitely changes the game, and it changes the aggressiveness. It changes, your ability to do things inside the race car and the handling of the race car. So, I think having something consistent now is big, probably for everybody. We all know what to expect. There for a while, I felt like the super speedways were changing, fairly quick. And, it seemed like every year, maybe race to race, things would change. And so I like the consistency that we have going into this year. I do believe that will help us at JTG Doherty Racing. All my guys, we know exactly what we need to work on. Obviously, I think the road courses have changed a little bit, more of like what we had at the Roval there in the fall. But, all things staying the same definitely helps our notebook. It helps every team because we all know what to work on. But it's nice not having to, chase a bunch of rules changes going into this season.
And do you feel like going to the last lap, like would it be better to be running in second place than being the leader with kind of harder to block in this situation, or is it just kind of a case-by-case thing?
Yeah, it's case by case. I don't think any one of us would not take the lead on the final lap and, defend as best we can. And knowing that, you have the position. Being second, it obviously would be just fine as well, and trying to make that move. But I feel like at that point, you're, almost relying on somebody to go with you and make that move with you, whether it be to the bottom or the top or to give you that push that you're looking for. So I feel like you can control your own destiny a little bit better when you're in the lead.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricky. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Chase Holden. Go ahead, Chase.
All right, you got me?
Gotcha.
All right, Ricky, I like the do, man. It's nice. It looks good.
Better tuned up today.
Look, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about coming out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. I'm personally from the Mississippi, Louisiana area. We got a dirt race coming up in Bristol, and there's a ton of in the Mississippi, Louisiana area. How special would it be if the Bristol dirt race is successful to see another dirt race maybe be added in the Mississippi area?
Yeah, that'd be neat. I think there's a lot of great racetracks across Mississippi. I'm definitely glad the World of Outlaws and my sprint car team is going to be able to go to some of those racetracks that I ran at, a little bit here and there, especially further down south, like you said, Louisiana area, South Mississippi. It'll be cool to get them in that area and bring those cool racetracks to light on the sprint car side of things. For us in the Bristol dirt race, I mean, for everyone, I hope it's successful for NASCAR, for Bristol, for all the dirt fans around the country. I know they might not all be diehard NASCAR fans, but I hope they tune in to our dirt race. One thing's for sure, it's going to be different, and I think it's going to put on a good show. Eldora's always put on a good show with the trucks. Felt like that was a good move. I've had a lot of fun when I've ran the ARCA cars at the Springfield Mile and DuQuoin back in 2008. So I do think that we can put on a good show, and I hope it's successful enough to keep doing it. Maybe go to a real dirt track and maybe sprinkle those during your scheduling negotiations. Take and go to a different track here and there. I think that'd be fun.
Heck yeah. And another thing, we're seeing a lot of NFL players, NBA players really getting involved with NASCAR, which is awesome. Have you thought about reaching out to Gardner Minshew as a Mississippi native? I think you two would get along pretty well.
Yeah, he would be a great partner in a NASCAR team for sure. He brings a lot of energy. I don't know if you want to call it his character. Obviously, leading a football team does pretty good at that. So I have not thought about reaching out to him, but that would be special.
Heck yeah! Thanks so much, man. Best of luck.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Ashley McCubbin. Go ahead, Ashley.
Ricky, it's been made as no secret that you're strong on these super speedways. What's the secret to the success?
I don't know the secret. Obviously, you got to have a little luck. Stay out of the wrecks. Have a good chemistry going on with your spotter crew chief throughout the race. But like I said a little bit earlier, is you got to have a car that handles. Speed is important, which Brian Patty and my team at JTG Doherty Racing, they're building me some fast race cars to show up to those speedways, but it's got to handle good. And, when you have both of those combinations, you feel like you're able to make some moves, that maybe other people can't throughout the race and put yourself in better positions. And so I've just tried to take every time I've been on the racetrack in a super speedway, whether it be, during practice, the duels, the shootout, you name it. I feel like I'm always, trying to learn and, what side dress work best with, this configuration and rules package. And so, I think everybody is pretty advanced on, what those drafting scenarios are compared to when I came in the sport back in, like 2009, 2010, when I first started running on the speedways. I feel like everybody's learned so much more over the last, 10 years that it makes us all really tough and, aggressive out on the racetrack. Makes it fun.
And what would it mean to you if you're able to win the Daytona 500?
It would be awesome. I think for me and, obviously everybody at our race team, it would be our biggest accomplishment. Me individually and our whole race team as a whole. And, that's our goal going down there. My crew chief, we're preparing to leave our car in the Daytona Hall of Fame down there. And that's what we want to do. We want to put that thing in there on, I guess it's normally Monday morning when you're done at the racetrack. And so that's our plan. It would be huge for us, and it would really be a game changer for everybody at our race team and in our organization. The years that Tad and Jody and Brad and Gordon have put into, owning a NASCAR team, starting, really small to growing it big. It would be huge.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Lee. Did you have another question? Okay, we'll go to Stephen.
Try me again, Amanda. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
Thank you,
Stephen
dear.
with 24/7 Sports. Go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up with it. It appears Chase Elliott has gotten the dirt bug, and I'm sure you spent time with him at Chili Bowl and have watched him progress. It's not easy when it's not something you haven't grown up in. And what do you think about this newfound love of his?
It's really special to have somebody Chase's caliber, his fan base, and then to have a NASCAR champion, show up to the Chili Bowl, which is one thing, but then want to continue doing that. Obviously, he got his feet wet at Millbridge Speedway, which was really cool to see. And then, taking that to Chili Bowl and now going to Ocala. I think it says a few things. Obviously, dirt racing's addicting. Once you get in it, you want to keep racing it. But it's really cool that, Rick Hendrick and everybody at the Hendrick Racing is letting him, go out and participate in these races. But it also shows you how important everybody, sees the Bristol dirt race. I've seen other drivers, out testing modifieds and making laps on dirt tracks, and everybody's taken Bristol serious as they would any other racetrack, and they're not just writing it off. And so I think it's really cool on a lot of fronts that Chase is trying to run some more midgets. I talked to him at Chili Bowl, and I mean, he was having a blast. These cars are not easy to drive, and it's a totally different discipline than what he's ever been used to. And I think for him to go in it and keep showing up, not just going to test when nobody's around, but actually throwing himself right in the middle of USAC races, which is the toughest midget racing in the country. It's cool that he's not scared to, struggle to get going to learn more. And I'm excited for him. It'll be fun to watch.
I asked Chase yesterday, Briscoe, if there was one guy, if you could pick one guy that would kind of, some swinging, from the dirt side to come over and actually attempt to race the cup race with you guys. There's one guy that you could pick out of that. Who would that be?
Who would that be? Man, I don't know. For me, I think it would have to be, probably my buddy Tyler Courtney. I feel like he's really smooth. He's actually transitioning right now from, the USAC ranks, midget sprint cars to wing cars. And I feel like, just watching him early on this season, the smoothness that he has, the feel for the race car is really good. And we're only a few races into 2021 with a wing on. So I think that would be fun to kind of see him transition over. There's a handful of guys that, have some asphalt experience that run dirt cars now, that I think could have some success as well. But for somebody that's like never been on pavement, I think Sunshine would be pretty fun to have him come over.
Appreciate your time, Ricky. Thanks.
Not a problem.
Okay, we will take, let's see here. Stephen did not have a question, so we're going to go to Tucker White. Go ahead, Tucker.
Ricky, as we've seen over the last few seasons, and most especially last season, the driver who performs the best over the course of a season doesn't necessarily make the championship round or even win the championship. So given how much getting to that championship is weighted on just pure luck at this point, how exactly are the playoffs still a good measure for determining a championship versus, especially when compared to like leagues like IndyCar and Formula One, which decide their champion via season-long format?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can argue it all different ways. Back in the day, it was every single race throughout the season added up for points. But if you look at, the Chiefs very well could have lost to the Browns and had the best regular season, and they're done in one game. So I think our sport has evolved, and I think it's made it really interesting every round of the playoffs. And you got to perform. Obviously, the 4 was, the 4 and the 11 were by far the best last year over the course of the whole season. And, neither one of them won the championship. But, I think it's those Game 7 moments that NASCAR wanted to create to win the championship. And I think it's brought a lot of, I don't know, excitement. I know we use that word a lot, but those 3 races per round are intense. And I think it's a good way to make sure that everybody keeps performing, all the way till the last race is over. So I think it's good. I think NASCAR's done a good job with it. I think us as teams and drivers, kind of accepted this format, and know that you have to be good all the way to the last race.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we will take one final question. Let's see here, 2 questions actually. Anton with ASN Media, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Ricky. You know how to win a Daytona, and you generally do great at super speedways, including your pole position last year at the Daytona 500. Which factor is going to be decisive for you in terms of fighting for the Daytona 500 title this year?
I think it's just putting myself in better situations throughout the race is what's going to help factor us into, battling for that checkered flag, comes late Sunday afternoon. And so, for me, it's, watching some film, looking at, the last couple of years of how the races have played out. And, for me, I know one big area where it went wrong last year, with us having one of the fastest cars. You've got to do everything right. And, we plan on having a fast car, one of the fastest cars, when we show up there next week. And so I think for me, it's going to be limiting those mistakes and putting ourselves in a good position.
Thanks. Wishing you all the best for the Speed Weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, one final question. Marty from ROC Sports, go ahead, Marty.
Saving the best for last 2 days in a row, I guess. Ricky, real quick, going back to qualifying, do adjustments change as you head into the first Daytona 500 qualifying at night? And could it be held possibly as, well, actually for your team, could it be like an early prep session and figuring out how the car will rotate for the later stages of the Daytona 500?
Yeah, it's hard to take anything from your qualifying setup over to the 500. I know last year, we had our car obviously on kill and ready to go for qualifying. You only have so many adjustments that you can do before you go into the dual race. And so you're kind of stuck with what you got from qualifying, and you got to race it in the dual. So normally in the dual, it doesn't handle as well. And then you start taking some of those adjustments out to get it ready for the Daytona 500. So, I think for us, you use the dual more, as far as drivability, what your car does, good or bad. And then you try and adjust on that before Sunday comes around. So I don't think it really changes anything of, us qualifying at night, other than, I think the track could be a little bit faster. So the cars might have to be a little bit higher off the ground, make sure you don't over travel your car and scrape the racetrack too much.
Thanks for your time, man. Have a great Speed Weeks. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Ricky, thank you so much for your time. We wish you the best of luck in the Daytona 500.
Not a problem. Thank y'all.